AI agents don't just need intelligence, they need rules. Like, machines just can't go off and, I don't know, this can't just go off like Arnold Schwarzenegger in some movie and start blowing stuff up. They got to have governance, not just a generic AI token. Voting, treasury execution. That's why the machine economy is better than most AI coins, right? And then DEXE might be able to play an integral role in that. The invisible layer may be the valuable layer. DAOs need better tooling before larger treasuries can move on-chain safely, right? Governance as a service can monetize across RWA, blah, 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 blah. So DEXE could be thinking of governance rules as a service, right?
So, and we can talk about this because I have previously, so we've been doing this for a few years, right? A couple years ago, I was like, DAOs aren't really the way to go, right? But now they're becoming critical to the infrastructure, right? So this is something that we'll look at in the future, right? These DAOs, as these agents move on chain, there needs to be rules around it, right?
Right.
And another thing that I wanted to talk about, which will go probably way more deep, even though it's so early days, there aren't a lot of projects to talk about, but we'll go way more deep into that, which is in alignment with the rules for agents, right? Is the scheduling for things. So one of the things that we've been talking about, and I don't think we're giving anything away from our private.
No, you're not. This must be in the 2050 meeting because I wasn't in on this one.
We touched on it. We touched on it. Again, my brain's always overworking. But is that when you place a trade, right, you're not even really put into a queue, right? It's more like a waiting platform for a train. And there is a mechanism that decides what trades go through, right? So it hasn't been a huge problem because there's always a delay in trading when humans are involved, right? But with agents, not so much. So one of the things that we're going to look at in our next show are these projects that queue trades. So you can place a trade in, right? And at a certain price, but not get it at that price because there's a delay. Well, it doesn't work for AI, right? These zillions of instantaneously trades are going to trade. They're going to change the nature of this altogether. And so there are some projects, and there will probably be more, that are going to deal with how do we build the queue, who gets in first and why. It's critically important.
Right. And
so this is like 10 steps ahead of where everybody else is right now.
Right. So this is, we're just going to go right into it. This is, beyond the report card. So this is agentic alpha. We will have to unpack this. Toby wrote this report. I did the slides. I'm like, whoa. Agents will not care which chain has the best story. They will route to execution.
It's going to change everything. So, what y'all don't realize, and one of the things we focus on our show, is how when these AI agents start trading, it truly changes the nature of everything in the markets, right?
Right. And nobody is, some people are talking about it. No one's ready.
Well, they're not deep diving.
Right. We're still in chips and the 4-year cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah. We talked about that last year. We're on to the next thing.
Right. So MEV monad a priority, right? If I'm saying it right. An agent market is going to route, optimize, settles, and repeats, whereas humans click, react, panic, and wait.
Yeah, things are going to happen so fast.
The marginal blockchain user will become software.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. So what y'all have been able to participate until now. The thing is that in the future, and one of the things I'm working on are these agents, right? That help predict, right? But the market is going to change so rapidly because these agents make these decisions super
Right.
quick.
And
A human, you're going to have no option, right? Especially if you're a day trader. If you're like me, I care about long-term trends. I care about spotting early cycles and getting in before things hit, which is the best way that I can compete. Because I can't be a day trader. I can't. Plus the anxiety level. Ugh, I just can't.
well, I mean, people, Robinhood was pumping the fact that they're going to give people agent tools.
No, and I think that's great.
Um,
I do. I actually think that's really, really good. But I would prefer to quantify early movements. You know, I'm a futurist. It's why I write science fiction. It's what I love to do, right? Is to predict trends at the very beginning of them. So for me, I'm more of a long-term strategist. I like to find the early trend and get in at the beginning of it, you know?
right. And this is kind of like, and this is mind boggling, right? The scarce asset, there is no scarce asset in the world, right? Maybe except Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
The scarce asset becomes execution control. Who controls autonomous order flow? And then, we have to get deep into this. MEV is not a side effect.
Oh, that's what I was just talking
It's
about.
the hidden market structure of crypto.
That's exactly
I mean,
right.
that in itself is a deep dive and a report unto itself, right? So, a new layer appears between apps and settlement, DeFi applications, execution intelligence, privacy, liquidity, settlement, Monad, Bitcoin layer twos, Ethereum. Does anyone remember that? Okay.
We're going to see a lot more layer one, speaking of this, because of speed of execution. When agents come into the market, that is going to be a critical element to their success. And right now, it's one of the reasons why I mentioned Monad in here. But and even that isn't good enough yet, right? So I don't have any ideas about how you should take advantage of this knowledge, but knowing that it's coming so you can look for these projects is critical.
Yeah, and there are super fast layer ones out there, but like here's another, like again, folks, this is like a sample of like mind-boggling concepts. Like machine learning systems reward rails with repeatable feedback loops.
Yes.
Execution data becomes training data.
Absolutely.
Like slippage is a label, MEV loss is a penalty, rebates become alpha. It's like, oh my God. I mean, this is like high frequency trading from Wall Street coming to crypto with agents just jumping in
times 1,000, right? Because your trades are executed like faster than I can snap my fingers.
Right. So
which you can't do on Wall Street.
Right.
There's a lag. Well, and there's no lag.
Yeah. Well, there's a lag for humans, but not for machines, not for the
agents.
Wall Street machines. And the guy from Robinhood said this, like, program trading, that's what they called it in the 80s. And then it was algorithmic trading, and then it's dark pools. This stuff's been around for decades at Wall Street, but now humans are going to get to play with this stuff, and we're going to get to watch the machines do it kind of live. It's not going to be behind like, Goldman's firewall.